We would all agree that last year, the New England Patriots in free agency, it wasn't nothing to write home about. Much like the New York Jets getting Aaron Rodgers a couple years ago, this past year, selling the boat to get Devontae Adams, it just didn't pan out. I just want to say that about the Jets because I want to take a jab. But beside the point, I think everyone in the NFL currently, right now, is sleeping on the New England Patriots in free agency. We're going to talk about it. My name is Aaron. You guys know on the daily, pushing out content to people just like you who can't get enough Patriots football. So do me a favor, hit the subscribe button as we continue to go up, hit the like button, and as well, comment below. First and foremost, first question for you. I've asked it before. I'll ask you again. In free agency right now, who is the guy you want to see in a Patriots uniform next year? Comment below. Let's talk it over. So that being said, the New England Patriots going into this new season, as we talked about, the new season starts in about mid-March. The 2025-2026 NFL season will officially kick off, and things will get rolling, and it will get exciting, and everyone will be pumped for football in September. Honestly, I'm pumped for preseason football. That's kind of embarrassing to say. I'm pumped for the draft. I'm pumped for it all. But that being said, the New England Patriots, a lot of people are sleeping on them. One, because let's look at the state of the team last year. Now, last year, and I'm going to jump into a couple articles real quick, but last year we look at the state of the team, and it was rough. It was a new head coach with no coaching experience. Two different coordinators, no coordinating experience. A lot of coaches, sure, there were some experiences on some ends, but when it comes down to it, there's a lot of newer coaches at the position. Now, that can be a good or bad thing. I think it can be a good thing when you have leadership in positions that are experienced, but unfortunately, Gerard Mayo was not. Now, we all know also the roster for the New England Patriots this past year in a lot of areas were rough, very rough. And so that being said, it caused for havoc when it came to signing free agents, trying to get free agents to come to the New England Patriots. Case in point, I know Brandon Ayuk was not a free agent, but trying to get him to the New England Patriots from the 49ers. You know, there was this drama with Brandon Ayuk for, it seemed like, months. He turned down the deal with the New England Patriots. That deal was better than Cleveland's deal, and it probably would have been in the ballpark of 32 per year for a 4-year deal, which would be solid. But that being said, I think he looked at the situation in New England and said, that is an absolute dumpster fire at the moment. I see it coming, and I don't want to be a part of it. Now, here's the reason why the league is sleeping on the Patriots right now. Again, look at the momentum shift in the organization. Again, we talk new head coach. We talk about young quarterback. We talk about, obviously, I love pointing out people like Christian Gonzalez. Hopefully, Christian Barmore is back as well. A high draft pick, a lot of cap space. Listen, the Patriots are turning the tide. And in free agency this year, I don't think they're going to make a little splash. I think they're going to make a huge splash. And so with a situation like this, again, Brandon Ayuk, I understand it was a trade proposal. It was not a free agency pickup. But even let's bring in Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, someone who ended up opting to go to the Titans. We know Elliott Wolf was pursuing him pretty well. And when it comes down to it, I think that teams are going to see, hey, there's an opportunity here in New England to be a part of something special, to bring this organization back to a spot where it's winning, making the playoffs, winning Super Bowls. And the question is, do I want to be a part of that? And I know a lot of people say, listen, there's people in the NFL that all they care about is the bottom dollar. They care about money. 100%. I don't disagree. But there's also a lot of people in the NFL that care about their legacy and care about leaving and winning a Super Bowl. Listen, how much do you see, maybe not necessarily Dan Marino, but Dan Marino is brought up a lot in conversation where it's like, who's a great player who never won a Super Bowl? Dan Marino. Or I don't really watch the NBA that much unless it's the playoffs, because regular season, let's be real, comment below if you agree with this. Regular season NBA basketball just, it's not always there for me. It's not great. Playoff basketball is a lot better. But that being said, Charles Barkley gets absolutely trashed on all the time for not having a ring. Great player, unreal player, one of the best to play the game. in this generation. But when it comes down to it, players want to be on a team that have that, and they see teams and they look at teams and their potential. So again, I think Brandon Ayuk looks and is like, I'm with the 49ers. We're just in the Super Bowl. Do I really want to jump ship and make this solid money, but at the same time have to deal with this right now? I think the answer then was no, obviously. But I think moving forward, and what this guy says is, I don't think T. Higgins, and again, whether you want T. Higgins or not, I'm just saying this as a whole for free agents. I think free agents are going to start looking at the New England Patriots with a better light, as opposed to looking at them like, head coach, no experience. These guys, no experience as coordinators. No offensive line, very inexperienced wide receivers, a veteran quarterback that in all reality should not be starting. The tides are turning. As well, the reason I bring up this as well is because I love Drake May out there being a car salesman, going around at the Pro Bowl and basically quote unquote recruiting players during the Pro Bowl, which I love to hear. So he was on Up and Adams podcast on Tuesday, obviously today, talking about basically how he was going around talking to other players at the Pro Bowl and telling them about Boston and essentially how he likes it and the fan base and all these different things. Now, you might say this isn't that big a deal. True, sure, why not? But let's be honest. When you talk about when you go ask a casual fan, name me some NFL teams, I would be surprised if they left out the New England Patriots. Usually they unfortunately say the Dallas Cowgirls because apparently they think they're God's team. But that is neither here nor there. When it comes down to it, the Patriots, and go on any Google search and say what is the biggest fan base, what is the most popular fan base, what is one of the most popular franchises in the NFL, and I guarantee you, if not one, if not two, in the top three consistently is the New England Patriots. It's not a hard organization to sell. And so when it comes down to it, Drake May going into the Pro Bowl and doing just little things like this, I would not be surprised in free agency if you have someone that said, hey, listen, I met with Drake May, or I threw the ball around with Drake May, or whatever it might be. And he made that connection where it said, hey, I'm willing to go take a chance in my career to go somewhere like New England. Now, let's be real, they're going to get paid, but I'm going to take that chance to help in a rebuild and help be a part of something special here in New England post-Bill Belichick era. So what do you think about that? Drake May, free agency. You think people are sleeping on the Patriots, or do you think people are going to make it, or the Patriots are going to make a huge splash? Comment below. Again, I believe they're making a huge splash, and they are right now in the office just planning, just scheming up right now, and they're ready to go. I guarantee you when it comes to when free agency opens, it's going to be wild. Now, last thing I want to talk about is Mr. Joe Milton, because a lot of people have talked about Joe Milton. We've talked about him a lot on this channel. There we go. I like Joe. If anyone has watched this channel, you know I've watched Joe play football for a long time. I will never disagree with you. He is a athletic phenomenon. He can throw the ball a quarter mile like Uncle Rico in Napoleon Dynamite, and just it is a fun player to watch. But his finesse and his inconsistency, if you've watched him play with his time at Michigan, his time at Tennessee, it's something that has not gone away. Now, he's obviously had his moments with the Bills. He had some moments in preseason. But at the end of the day, looking into it, if executives are saying that someone could give up a third-round pick to get Joe Milton, why not take that draft capital and get someone else besides Joe Milton? Now, a lot of people are like, I see both sides of the argument is, hey, you got a great second-string quarterback. But listen, you look at any other franchise, if we truly believe Joe Milton could be a starter, why the heck is he not starting? And I don't think that at all. I want that to be known. I think Drake May is hands down. There's a reason he was the third overall pick. But when it comes down to it, I think the New England Patriots, if they have an opportunity where someone says, listen, we don't like the quarterbacks in these draft, I want to trade for Joe Milton in a third-round picks in the conversation, why wouldn't I'm genuinely like, why wouldn't you take that? Again, there are other you could bring in Jacoby Brissett to be the second string quarterback again. Who cares? You could go bring in a plethora of quarterbacks, I'm sure, on a veteran minimum, just to throw them in there and play quarterback. Shoot, you could go out there and draft if you wanted to. I bet you could get a quarterback like Dylan Gabriel pretty late. You could probably get Kyle McCord, who is from Syracuse, who was at Ohio State before that. You could probably get him pretty late as well. But a lot of teams do that. Again, case in point, Brian Hoyer. I love Brian Hoyer, the GOAT. I'm a Michigan State fan. I've watched Brian Hoyer play a lot of football, a lot of good football, a lot of bad football. And I will never forget when he was at Michigan State, I never thought, if you would have said, Aaron, he's going to have a long career as a journeyman in the NFL, I would have laughed in your face. I would say, no, not this guy. And if Brian Hoyer's watching, no, I love you, and I'm saying this with all my heart. But when it comes down to it, he went in there. He knew the playbook. He was incredibly smart. He was a great leader, and he was that second string quarterback. Why? And that was a great role for him. Great role from him. If you see any of those Progressive commercials, he's one of those like, hey, call in the backup type guy. He would do a great job, and he had some great starts when he started for different organizations. But when it comes down to it, if we can get something for Joe Milton, why wouldn't we try to go get that? Why are we going to sit someone behind Drake May where we're like, oh, he could start, and salivating over that? Again, in reality, I don't see that. I don't think would ever start over Drake May. But get something. That's a great investment. You a late round pick, you get a third round for him, and again, potentially if someone's really a sucker for it, you could get maybe even something better. But again, I think third round based on what this article says for executives would be high tier. So what do you think, Joe? Listen, I know some of you love Bazooka Joe, but listen, a third round that's nice. That could be a lot. It has me thinking. So comment below. Would love to hear what you have to say about Joe Milton, Bazooka Joe. Tell me what you think about free agency. I know hope is rising when it comes to this organization, and optimism is rising. If you've watched this channel at all, you know I'm a glass half full type person. I see the good in things. I see the positive, and I see this franchise trending in the right direction. Do you think that sentiment is going to help in free agency? My answer is yes. What is your answer? I would love to hear you below. As well, Drake May in the Pro Bowl, being the car salesman. I don't know. Comment on that too. What do you young buck in there hanging out with all the big dogs? Just love it. But anyways, comment below. My name's Aaron. Hit the subscribe button on your way out. Would mean the world to me. We'll talk later. Peace.